My story is called Everyone Loves a Challenge. Who doesn't love a challenge? They're everywhere. If you open your Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook accounts right now, you are bound to come across one. It could be anything from a dance off to a cook off. It's there. So when my sister challenged me to a spicy noodles eat off challenge, I thought, how could I resist? I am no stranger to spicy food. In fact, anything in extra hot will do. So for 2 whole days, the devil red package lay on the tabletop, glaring at me, taunting me. And for 2 whole days, I completely ignored it. Eventually, I reached breaking point, unable to take the taunting anymore. I grabbed the package, I ripped it open, revealing its contents of pure white noodles, a small sachet of chili flakes, and a small sachet of fiery sauce. This was finally happening. I emptied the noodles into a saucepan, taking great care to follow the instructions step by step. I felt my heart skip a beat as I emptied the contents of the fiery red small sachets of sauce and chili flakes. The searing sound it made when it made contact with the hot saucepan, and the aroma that lifted into the air, so strong, so powerful. My heart was no longer skipping a beat, it was racing instead. Forcing myself to calm down, I steadied my hand and emptied the steaming stir-fried contents into a bowl. I was ready. At my desk, I carefully placed the bowl of noodles and a glass of ice cold milk, which I had also poured in case of emergency. I sat down and placed my cell phone into position, turning the video on to selfie mode. It was showtime. I lifted the bowl, showing the contents to the camera, and proceeded to get ready for the first bite. I swirled a decent helping of noodles around the fork, making sure it was firmly in place. As I bravely raised the fork to my mouth, the intense spicy aroma sent warning signals, halting the fork just before I opened my mouth. Very similar to when you're about to take a sip of hot coffee and the intense heat from the cup stops you, except in this case, it was fear. Fear of what if I can't do this? What if I really can't do this? Reasoning with myself, I said, surely it's not that bad. Others have done this. Why can't I? So I thought, instead of diving straight in, let me test the contents by dipping in just the tip of my tongue, which I did. This isn't too bad, I thought to myself. And so I did it a second time, just to make sure. This really isn't as bad as everybody said. And so I bravely popped the first bite into my mouth, chewing and swirling it around my tongue, eagerly waiting to get to the next bite. I had barely swallowed when a certain heat set in. It seemed to settle as a layer just beneath the surface of my tongue. It was slow but steady, and it felt as if someone was steadily turning the heat up, second after second. I barely had time to process that when I felt the heat move up to my ears. A strange ringing started to occur. The air filled with nothing but the ringing. The heat proceeded on its trajectory, moving up into my eyes. Tears started to fill, completely blocking my vision. It eventually reached my brain, where it felt like a loud fire alarm was going off. Suddenly, it shot straight down to my right leg, causing it to shake uncontrollably in an up and down movement. I had never experienced anything like this before, and it was all happening so fast. I felt paralyzed. I was unable to talk or scream. It felt like fire was streaming out of my ears. I just sat there in silence, eyes closed, and as the sensation took over my body, little sweat beads started to form on my forehead. I quickly swallowed, hoping to take a sip of cold milk to calm down the fire in my mouth. Instead, a bout of hiccups followed. I felt like I was dying. I heard that taking a few deep breaths helped, so I decided to do that instead. Midway into my first attempt, the hiccup was rudely interrupted. I tried yet again. Nope, the hiccups were having none of it. I gave out a nervous giggle, thinking, What have I got myself into? I calmed myself down and tried yet again. This time I managed a long, deep breath, holding it in for at least 20 seconds and then exhaled. I waited. Nothing. No hiccups. I waited a little longer just to be sure. Yep, they were gone. They were really gone. I quickly grabbed the glass of ice cold milk and took a mouthful, careful not to swallow. I kept it just over my tongue until the heat subsided. Oh, the cooling effect was heavenly. After I swallowed, I just sat like that for a few seconds, eyes closed, patiently waiting for the head rush from this experience to subside. I finally opened my eyes and looked into the camera, eyes bloodshot, and gave out a laugh, knowing that the bowl was still full and that I still had a few more rounds to go.